Good evening, everyone. If everyone can find their seats, we'll get this evening started. Thank you for attending tonight. I'm Teresa Dedamore. I'm the CEO of the Sheridan County Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank our Government Affairs Committee for putting this event on tonight, and for our volunteers here. We have Ty Bach and Steve Meyer helping check everyone in. We have Peter Clark and Kaylin Rosado up front helping with questions, and of course our moderator, Cody Sinclair, tonight. Tonight's forum is going to run a little different. We're going to have our unopposed races come up first to read their statements, and then we will start in with our contested races. The contested ones will be County Coroner, County Sheriff, County Clerk, County Commissioners, and Sheridan Council members. Candidates will have a 2-minute intro followed by questions with up to 45 seconds to answer each, and then a 2-minute closing. Chamber staff will be operating the timer, and they will signal candidates when they have 30 seconds left and when to stop. Kim, will you hold those signs up so they can see where you're at? These are billboards, people, so we can see them. So tonight's forum will be live streamed, and it's also being recorded. So if you'd like to see how you did or maybe review it later, it will be on our website within 24 hours in our YouTube channel. You can check that out later. We did run out of sheets up front. We have copies being made, so if you want to check out in between candidates, maybe run out to the lobby. We'll have a new stack of programs for you if you did not receive one as well. So without further ado, I'll bring up our Government Affairs Committee Chair, Cody Sinclair.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you for everyone showing up tonight. It's great to see so many people here this evening. So to kick off the evening, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would ask everyone to please silence your phones this evening to minimize disruptions of the event. And let's go ahead and get started. If I could get all of the candidates who are unopposed, please join me on the stage. For County Treasurer, Katie Harris, County Attorney, Diana Bennett, Clerk of District Court, Renee Botten, and County Assessor, Corky Knudsen. All right, so each of our unopposed candidates will have 2 minutes to give us a statement. First, we'll have County Treasurer Katie Harris.
Good evening, and thank you to the Chamber Government Affairs for hosting this event and to everyone who took the time to be here tonight. My name is Katie Harris, and I am running for a second term as your Sheridan County Treasurer. I was born and raised in the great state of Wyoming. I attended Bighorn schools and graduated from the University of Wyoming with a bachelor's degree in finance and a minor in economics. My husband and I are proud to call Sheridan home, where we are raising our 2 wonderful daughters, and along with our dog Oscar. Serving as your Sheridan County Treasurer has been an honor. Public service is something I take seriously because the work we do affects the people who live, work, and do business in Sheridan County. Every person who walks our doors deserves to be treated fairly, respectfully, and with professionalism. I am running again because I care deeply about this community. There is always more work to be done, and I want to continue building an office that is efficient, transparent, and responsive to the needs of Sheridan County. Over the past several years, our office has focused on balancing progress with stability, making improvements where they are needed while preserving the processes that already serve our community well. We've worked to increase efficiency, adapt to change, strengthen customer service, and build relationships with county departments, fellow electeds, and the state. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the staff in the Treasurer's office. They work very hard every day to serve the public and keep our office running smoothly. I am truly grateful for their dedication and commitment. In closing, thank you for your trust, support, and the opportunity to continue serving Sheridan County.
Thank you, Katie. Next, we'll hear from County Attorney Diana Bennett.
Good evening. I think I'm the only one without a written statement up here, but first I'd like to thank the Chamber for putting this on. It's kind of strange, I think, for us to be up here when we're unopposed, so I don't want to take up too much time. I'm running for my third term as county attorney. I've been an attorney for almost 30 years now. I've been an attorney in the county attorney's office for 26 years, 8 of those being the elected. Obviously, it's what I love to do. I'm running to do it one more time. Little information about our office. For the first time in 8 years, thank you to the county commissioners, has approved another position for an attorney in our office. We've been down an attorney for about 8 years, and we got that approved. So that's really important for us because we've been drowning, we've been treading water, we've been so very busy. We have the highest number of felony cases that we've ever had. We did last year and the year before, so we've been very, very busy office as our county is growing very, very quickly. So she hasn't started yet, but we've got somebody hired, so that's good. I love public service. I obviously love what I do. I've been a private attorney, I've been a defense attorney, and I've been in this job for most of my career. It's what I love to do, and it's how I hope to spend the rest of my career. So I thank you for coming here, and I hope you don't want to, I'm sure you don't want to hear any more from me, not only because I'm a lawyer, but because there's other people here that you're going to want to hear from. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Clerk of District Court, Renee Botten.
I am Renee Botten, and I am running also for a third term as Sheridan County Clerk of District Court. I also want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for having this candidate forum. I also grew up in Wyoming on a ranch here, and I've spent the majority of my life, except for 3 years, my mom and dad took me to a different state, in Wyoming. The Clerk of District Court's office has 1 Clerk of District Court and 4 deputy clerks. The Clerk of District Court's office performs many functions, a few of which are as follows. We maintain the records of the Sheridan District Court. We also open new cases and file pleadings, orders, and attachments into ongoing case files. We provide assistance to the public with record searches, providing general information and pro se packets to people as needed. We aid law firms and their staff. We receive filing fees, fines, restitution, bonds, search fees, and child support payments daily, and we disperse them as legally required by the law. We handle over $1 million a year in money that comes in. This requires daily documentation and accounting. Monthly reconciliations are required in conjunction with the Wyoming Supreme Court, and annual audits are required by Sheridan County. We organize and prepare appeal records as required. Also, as to jury trials, if you have ever received a notice of being on jury duty in the Sheridan County District Court in the last 7.5 years, I am so sorry. That was me. I have to pull 750 potential jurors every 6 months. In terms of my experience, I have a bachelor's degree in business administration and a law degree from the University of Wyoming. I practiced law for 26 years, including serving as a Sheridan Associate Municipal Court Judge for 4 years and a Wyoming Special Assistant Attorney General. Also, in running my own office, I handled the financial issues, the budgeting, the law office bank accounts, and the client trust accounts. I would respectfully ask for your support in this year's election. Thank you so much.
For the position of County Assessor, Corky Knudsen.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name it's Corky Knudsen, but I go by Coco. That's what everybody's known me by since I was a kid. And I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself. I was born and raised here in Sheridan County. My husband, JJ, and I are blessed with 6 children, 10 grandchildren, with our 11th on the way. I've worked for Sheridan County for more than 20 years, and in January of this year, I was honored to be appointed as your county assessor. I chose to run because I believe the people of Sheridan County deserve an assessor who is committed to treating every taxpayer fairly and equitably. Property taxes are a topic that's on everyone's mind. While the assessor's office doesn't make tax laws or set tax rates, We do have the responsibility to value property fairly, accurately, and consistently in accordance with Wyoming law. I believe in being transparent, educating property owners about how values are determined, and making sure everyone is aware of the exemptions they may qualify for. As your assessor, I will continue to focus on fairness, accountability, uniformity, and open communication with taxpayers, local officials, and our legislators. My goal is to ensure every property owner is treated with respect and has confidence in the assessment process. Thank you for your time this evening. I truly appreciate your continued support.
Thank you. We'll let these ladies leave the stage here, and I'd ask the candidates for county coroner to please join us up on the stage. Excellent. So we'll start this evening with each candidate for county coroner giving a 2-minute intro. We'll start with Robert C. Byrd.
Good evening, and thank you, Chambers, for having me here. Welcome, everybody. I am your current elected coroner, and I appreciate being here and having your attention. Over the past 4 years, you elected me into this position, and we have taken this on full steam, and we have built and resurrected the coroner office as pretty much as a separate agency. In that process, we've reached out and tried to partner with our law enforcement, our DCI, county attorney's office, and all our partners that we interact with, including the community. My goal was, I spent 25 years serving this great country, wearing the uniform, protect and serve. And now, I spent the last 4 years serving this community as your county coroner, and I'm asking you to re-elect me so I can finish the process, resurrect what we had started, continue with our mission, and continue to elevate the coroner's office so that we are meeting all the standards and statutes that are needed, and we're needed to. One of our major goals is to, as we continue on, is see if we can get accredited, and accreditation is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kevin Sessions.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Chamber. Thank you, Dr. Byrd, for being here as well. I am a Wyoming resident, born and raised here. I've been in Wyoming for 50 years plus. I got my degree in mortuary science 30 years ago in Chicago, Illinois, at the Worshams College of Mortuary Science. Right out of school, I was employed in Johnson County, Buffalo, and also got training in being a medic, an EMT intermediate, which I think contributes to helping the coroner's office, and then as well as serving under the coroner's office there in Johnson County. I left and came back to Wyoming and worked with P.J. Kane, my predecessor, as his chief deputy at the time, and have came to appreciate the opportunity to serve the community in a way that I feel it needs to be. There's been a lot of reasons why that I am running at this time. I didn't run last time, because Dr. Bennett and a good friend of mine as a forensic pathologist, I wasn't going to run against him. And my wife asked me to, and I probably should have listened to her, but I am listening to her now. And it's something that over the years, the last 3.5 years, there's been quite a few people have come up to me and encouraged me to run and to be a part of the coroner's office. And there's several things that I could see that that could change and needs to be changed. I think the relationships has been tainted a little bit over the time, and the relationships and being a coroner, and I don't think it has a political view. I think it needs to be a neutral, and it doesn't matter what they are. It's about the compassion and the care and the professionalism and the mutual respect that can be offered to the county, and I will bring that to the coroner's office.
Thank you. So we will rotate questions back and forth. The first question this evening: what are the primary cost drivers for the coroner's office? How could they be improved under your leadership? We'll start with Kevin Sessions.
Thank you, and that's a great question. I think taxpayer accountability for what the coroner's office does is something that hasn't really been stated. And there's expenses that occur in each case depending on the nature and the level that it needs to go, of having an autopsy or blood toxicology, and being able to know what exact case is. Over the years that I've done it, it's been about 70 to 90 cases that the coroner is required to assist in. And to be able to have that broken down to an individual case basis, I think will show a great improvement in the coroner office, and as well as to the county commissioners and to you as taxpayers.
Thank you. Robert Byrd.
So when we're talking about cost, we're talking about statutes and we're talking about standards. In order to meet those statutes and follow the standards, and we're talking standards nationally, National Association, there's requirements. I sit on the board of coroners, the standard of coroners. We set rules. Those rules are set what you're supposed to do on these cases. Some of the case, in case management, it gets a little costly, especially when some of the rules and requirements have changed over the past years. Example would be DNA. DNA samples is a rule set by the standards.
Thank you. Next question: what do you believe is the most important for community to understand about the responsibilities of the coroner's office? Robert Byrd.
To really understand the responsibilities is here, you are the taxpayers. It's your house. We work for you, but we're supposed to follow those standards, and we follow those standards in a timely manner, in a yearly manner, and then we had to rebuild and restructure to make sure we were doing those standards in a timely manner. So our goal, serve the community in a passionate way. And I think we've met that mark. I think we've done that. Those people that have interacted with us, and even our partners, our law enforcement partners, our legal partners, any of the partners from the medical examiner's office can testify that we have met that goal.
Thank you. Kevin Sessions.
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. What do you believe is the most important for the community to understand about the responsibilities of the coroner's office?
Probably first and foremost is that justice is being served for the person that can't speak for themselves as you come upon something that's not for everybody, and to bring justice to that in a kind and a professional way as you take care of and help that family go through something, and do it with dignity and respect is probably a very good direction of working well. And if you're gonna if you want respect, you have to definitely off that with the way that this office needs to be ran. I believe that, taxpayer transparency, accountability is something that we need to work on and make sure that everybody knows as taxpayers that we've just seen an increase over the years, up to 88% increase in that budget.
Thank you. Our next question, what professional background makes you particularly qualified for this office? Kevin Sessions.
Kind of in my opening statement, being a mortician, going through the process of learning the anatomy and the signs of death definitely equally prepares me for this office, and have definitely been exposed to so many wonderful things that have helped me learn from others of how to better represent this office. I feel that being a business owner, I think having that understanding in the private sector, I think that's something that is neglected, and I feel that that would be a contributing factor of moving forward as well. I believe first and foremost is to run the office in a way that people appreciate and respect what is being done for the families in the county.
Thank you. Robert Byrd.
Yes, that's right up my alley, because when it comes to resumes and critiquing, I'm going to hit this right on the nail. I've been trained by the best, the world's greatest scientists, forensic scientists in the world, being a member of one of the largest academy forensic science groups in the world. So my background supersedes everything, training, military training, forensic training. I'm just a cut above. I just hate to say it, but I don't boast enough about myself, but I was trained to do this, and I've been trained to do it in the right way.
Thank you. Our last question this evening, what information do you believe should be publicly available and what should remain confidential? Robert Byrd.
That's very easy. There's a Wyoming statute that says 7.4105, and it's a confidentiality. Coroner records are confidential, okay? But there is a verdict doc that is public record that we now have instituted because it was pointed out, like I said, at at the Coroners Association meeting, that all the coroners should be using this document for in case public wanted to get access to it. So it's called a verdict document, and yes, that's for public. But our records, no. We're the custodian of the records. The state owns our records. We're just the custodian of them. But the privacy of them, no, we do not share that unless we're subpoenaed or requested from legal in that fashion.
Thank you. Kevin Sessions.
Yeah, there's definitely a level of confidence if you do this. It's as a recording of the certificates and the documents and your scene of how you've evaluated and came up with it. But family and individuals can request a copy of that coroner's report of how we came up to the decision that we have, and so families can have the total access of that, and I feel that they need to go through the grieving process or whatever way to process this. But keeping things under a tight lip is, I think, very important as well when it comes to scene activity. You definitely want to keep things as humble and in a direction that you give respect, and that is something that I do.
Thank you. We'll now have closing 2-minute statements. We'll start with Kevin Sessions.
All right. Thank you once again for being here. I think that probably in the forefront is recognizing that the last 3.5 years, I've had several people in many departments that I've dealt with over the last 16 years come up and ask me if I was going to run and if they wanted me to run. And being now, it is the best time ever that having a morgue that's totally separate from the funeral homes. Over the last 60, 70 years, there's been a you know, a bias per se, because the body is at the coroner's office at the funeral home, and that would help maybe the families to make a decision and maybe lean one way or the other. And it happened with Jim Kane and Jay Ferries and Mark and PJ, and I was 100% all on board to being able to get that thing out of the funeral homes. Let the people make a choice on the decision who they want to help take them through the next stage of it. And to make this uncomfortable is not in any way would that happen. Being able to serve our community and give the very best back to them is something that I feel that there's a time and a season for it, and I feel that this is, and I would appreciate your vote on August 18th for that. It's something that, not to take away from Dr. Byrd or Colonel Byrd, he's done a great job, and he has a different way of running the office than I would, and I feel that it needs to be ran with a greater sense of respect and appreciation for all the people that are engaged at the most difficult and traumatic time in their lives. And so thank you, and thank you for being here, and I would love to have your support as we move forward in the coroner's office.
Thank you. Robert Byrd?
Yes. In closing, I have built and reconstructed this office to be a separate agency. We have reviewed the records. We have realigned the records. We have created new records. We have built relationships, and we have pretty much continued. But the mission's not over. We're not there. We're just now trying to get to the plateau. And that's why I'm saying, don't stop us now. Don't say, okay, hit the brakes, let's put somebody else in. You have to start all over from ground zero. We were at ground zero. Now we're trying to get to the 50 percentile, to get to the 100 percentile. This is why I'm asking you, the voters, the taxpayers, keep our team in there, including myself. We're on the right track. We're doing the mission. We'll get there. We'll make you very proud. And Wyoming strong.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking our candidates for County Coroner. We'll now have our candidates for County Sheriff join us on the stage. All right, we'll begin with 2-minute intros from our county sheriff candidates, beginning with William Levi Dominguez.
Well, good evening. Thank you to the Sheridan County Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum, and thanks to all of you for being here. I'm Sheriff Levi Dominguez, and I've had the pleasure of growing up in Sheridan County and serving this wonderful community for the last 23 years in public safety. I couldn't have done it without the loving support of my beautiful wife of 17 years, Melissa, and our two amazing boys, Will and Brody. Prior to being elected as your sheriff, I served 4 years as undersheriff and have been with the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office since 2014, where I served as patrol deputy, field training officer, hostage negotiator, community educator, patrol lieutenant, undersheriff, and now sheriff. I'm a proud graduate of the FBI's Rocky Mountain Command College and have attended many supervisor and command level trainings and conferences throughout my 23 years. These last 4 years have been challenging. Our community has gone through several critical and tragic events. And through all of it, I'm proud of how our community came together and supported one another, but most importantly, how our local law enforcement officers from different agencies stood by one another and worked with one another to ensure you all are safe in receiving the law enforcement services you deserve. Through it all, I believe the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office has delivered on what I set out to accomplish 4 years ago. Our staff's commitment to the citizens of Sheridan County has resulted in the reimplementation of our K-9 program, collaborating with emergency management and local fire districts to develop evacuation zones for the county to enhance emergency preparedness, partnering with Sheridan Memorial Hospital and other local providers to offer different programs within our detention center involving mental health and substance abuse, launching virtual crisis care to meet the mental health needs of our rural communities, teaming up with the Sheridan Police Department to develop a consistent active shooter response for all of Sheridan County. And I've continuously advocated for our staff by securing training opportunities, expanding mental health support for them and their families, and have increased our wages to retain and attract qualified personnel. Those are just a few of the many great things we're doing within a fiscally responsible budget. I'm excited to see these programs and partnerships flourish, and I look forward to serving you in the Sheriff's Office another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth Howard Fitzpatrick.
Hello, I'm Howie Fitzpatrick. I'm born and raised here in Sheridan. I want to thank you all for being here. I'm glad that you're out here to hear your options. I've lived here my whole life, raised my family here. My wife also retired from the Sheriff's Office. I spent 4 years in the Marines as a military policeman. After that, I came back here and continued to serve for over 21 years, or almost 21 years, on the Sheridan Police Department. I've done just about every job you can do in law enforcement. I've been a field training officer, firearms instructor, sniper instructor, Alice instructor, Raider instructor, mental health first aid instructor, and I also helped bring crisis intervention team training to Sheridan in 2016 and 2017. Other things that I've done throughout the community, I've taught self-defense up at the high school on my off time for 15 years. I was a Boy Scout when I was younger. Service has been my life. That's what I do. I really feel that there's no greater feeling on earth than being able to help somebody through a crisis that they didn't ask for, but they were thrust into, and they depend on good experience and calm experience to come and save them and help them through that crisis. And I look forward to continuing that service as your next sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question this evening, given that inmate healthcare costs are a large part of the detention center budget, what steps would you take to ensure compliance with state and federal law while reducing the cost to Sheridan taxpayers? We'll start off with Howie Fitzpatrick.
So I really do firmly believe that you as a taxpayer shouldn't be responsible for medical expenses unless they're required statutorily. And statutorily, those are required when the injury or illness is caused during arrest or while in the facility. That's what the state statute says. So one thing that we can do to reduce that is ensure that people are still billed by their provider, just like you and I. If you and I go to a doctor and we don't have the money for it, they turn it over to collections, and I think that that's the process that needs to happen. And if case law says otherwise, then we need to do something to address that, because it shouldn't be on you and I as taxpayers to have to pay for those medical expenses.
Thank you. Levi Dominguez.
When I took office in 2023, we looked at different healthcare providers within the jail, and we were able to move to a new healthcare provider that saved the county over $180,000 a year by switching that. But unfortunately, some medical expenses, that's a big ticket line item within the sheriff's office budget, and it's driven by case law, like Howie had mentioned. And there's sometimes you can't, unfortunately, are unable to work around that. And so we do a great job at the sheriff's office currently to provide the medical care that's required by the sheriff's office to our inmates. That care is $18 a day per inmate. And if you look throughout the state of Wyoming with other counties, sheriff's offices throughout the county, they're upwards to $20 to $45 per inmate per day.
Thank you. Next question, this evening. What will be your approach to handling the mental health challenges your deputies face in the field? Levi Dominguez.
I think we're doing a great job of that right now, and I think it's collaboration with the community. We have to know that we can't do all of this ourselves. When I sit at the table with other community organizations, with other providers throughout the county, I say, how can we be a part of the solution? I know we can't be the entire solution as the sheriff's office, but what can we do to help with that? And I think we've done that. I think we've supplemented and with other programs that we've done within the sheriff's office by partnering with those partnerships, launching virtual crisis care throughout the community, so that way we can better serve the needs of our rural communities within mental health.
Thank you. Howie Fitzpatrick.
Well, mental health is very important to me. I think that the average person in the United States will see a traumatic event between 2 and 6 times in their entire lifetime. A law enforcement officer will see that same critical event 600 times in their 20-year career. Mental health is extremely important and extremely vital for that officer to maintain their ability to perform their job. So what I would always suggest is that at a minimum of every 5 years, every deputy, every officer, every detention officer be required to speak to a counselor of their choosing, so that they can, go through some PTSD type of therapy, of course, if they want to, but that option needs to be made available.
Thank you. The next question, what specific experiences have you had in leading and overseeing budget, personnel, and policies? Howie Fitzpatrick?
So overseeing budget, personnel, things like that, I was in charge of our firearms department at the police department for a little while. Had to budget ammo, targets. We were able to give officers, X amount of rounds every month so that they could go out and qualify and practice. We had to maintain logs and keep track of all of those things. And obviously, it's a tight budget, and ammunition, especially during some of those years, was quite expensive. So we really had to watch our budgetary expenses when we did things like that. So that's about all I have for that.
Thank you. Levi Dominguez?
Yeah, the last 8 years. 4 years prior to being sheriff, I was the patrol lieutenant and undersheriff, so I oversaw, the personnel budget, put together that budget under Sheriff Alan Thompson, and oversaw personnel issues primarily within the patrol division, as that was my primary role as a law enforcement administrator. And then the last 4 years as sheriff, again, budget, personnel, all of those things that comes with being a law enforcement administrator, and making sure that we put individuals in place at the command level to help and assist with those. But yes, 8 years of experience doing that.
Thank you. Our last question this evening, how will you approach working alongside municipal, state, and federal law enforcement agencies? Levi Dominguez?
It's very important to partner up with local, whether it's municipal, our state, and local law enforcement and federal partners. The Sheridan County Sheriff's Office and all of our law enforcement agencies within Sheridan County, we're small. We need to rely on those resources to help in any way we can to make sure that we're providing the best law enforcement that you all expect and deserve. So it's vital that we have a good working relationship with the local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies.
Thank you. Howie Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I have worked with all of the law enforcement agencies during my 21 years at the police department. Worked with DCI, worked with the sheriff's office, worked with highway patrol, worked with Manchester Town Marshal for a little bit. Way back when. That was quite an experience too, by the way. But working with agencies is extremely vital, and having that working relationship is something that I believe that I excel at.
Thank you. We'll now hear closing 2-minute statements from each candidate, starting with Howie Fitzpatrick.
So what do you get when you elect me as your sheriff? You get 25 years of law enforcement experience. And like I said, I've done just about everything there is to do in law enforcement. Service is my life. This is what I love to do. I retired from the police department in 2021, and I decided that I wasn't quite done yet, and this is where I want to go. This is the avenue that I want to take. I've been working up at the junior high for the last 5 years as a disciplinarian, so like for those of you who are Back to the Future aficionados like me, I'm Strickland up there, so complete with the haircut. You know, I get to hang out and pick on kids and call them slackers and make sure that they get to class on time. I just have a great admiration for service. I love to help people, and I feel like I can help a broader spectrum of people as your new sheriff. So I ask for your vote on August 18th. You'll vote for experience, you'll vote for honesty, you'll vote for integrity, and you'll vote for somebody who treats people like people, and you'll vote for somebody who loves to serve and wants to work for you.
Levi Dominguez.
I would again like to thank the Chamber for the opportunity to participate in tonight's forum. In my opening statement, I had the opportunity to share with you my experience in public safety and all of the great things the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office has accomplished over the last 4 years. I think it's important to highlight the Office of Sheriff is so much more than just delivering law enforcement throughout the county. It's ensuring the Sheriff's Office is running smooth, overseeing and putting together a budget, jail operations, emergency management, community relations, search and rescue, and court security. These are areas that I've been a part of and have led within the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office over the last 8 years. I take all of those responsibilities serious, as does our staff. But what I find even more rewarding are the connections I've made with our community on other levels. As a member of the Bighorn Lions Club, board member for the Center for a Vital Community, Sheridan Youth Baseball board member, a liaison to the Doubleday Park, volunteer with the Antelope Butte Ski Patrol, advisory board member for Sheridan College's Criminal Justice Program, a Little League and American Legion baseball coach, and so much more. I'm a part of all of these wonderful organizations, not only because I have a passion to serve our community on many different levels, but it helps me keep a pulse on what our community truly needs. I have to thank my wonderful family again, Melissa, Will, and Brody, because they truly sacrifice so much so I can be your sheriff. During my first term as sheriff, I led our office through some tragic events that some law enforcement administrators will never face throughout their entire career, and supported our community as we navigated the aftermath. I'm running for re-election to continue that work. Some of our office's future plans are shaped by lessons learned. Others are simply exciting changes we can now focus on now that the dust has settled. I look forward to continued conversations and ask for your vote on August 18th. Have a wonderful night, and God bless.
Please join me in thanking our candidates for County Sheriff. I now ask our candidates for County Clerk and Recorder to join us on the stage. All right, so we'll first hear opening 2-minute comments from our candidates for County Clerk and Recorder, starting with Ida Shunk-Thompson.
Thank you. I am Ida Shunk-Thompson, your current county clerk, and thank you tonight to everyone who is working to make this forum so special, and thank you, the Government Affairs Committee and the Chamber. Also, I'd like to thank all of you here tonight, coming in tonight. Boy, I cannot see you. It is bright up here. So, in 2010, I was currently working as a land title researcher for northeastern Wyoming when we tragically lost our county clerk, Audrey Koltiska. It was with great sadness that I pulled off on the side of the road and cried. I knew Campbell County, Johnson County, and Sheridan County clerks' offices intimately. I had spent almost 10 years in their offices in land records, building land abstracts from land patent forward. I had also visited the Clerk of District Court's office for almost those 10 years, completing that land title research. It was with some disbelief that I was contacted by several members of the public who begged me to throw my hat in the ring. And I thought, wow, they're never gonna pick me. But I was one of the 3 that the party picked, and then I was the one the commissioners picked. I finished that 9-month term in a situation that the county clerk would not want to be in, where you're looking at a criminal investigation, supporting your staff. And I have to tell you that since then, I have proven myself. I have given you, starting my 17th year of service, I've proven integrity. And it is tonight that I ask for your vote. I know that it is you who decides who's the next county clerk, and I ask for your vote on August 18th. And as I think about those things, I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you. Christine Temple.
Thank you. I feel like I should have had a baseball cap. For those of you that don't know me, I'm just going to give you just a brief background about myself and my qualifications. My name is Christine Temple. My husband and I and 2 of our 3 kids moved here 7 years ago to reunite with my family here in Wyoming to make this our forever home. We had lived in over 15 states, I believe, with our previous background, and it was time to bring all of my family back together. I started out, my degree is in political science, interdisciplinary study in Middle Eastern politics, and I started with Congressman Buck McKeon. He was the House Armed Services Committee head as well as House Education Committee. I then went on to a large district attorney's office where I specialized in victim witness and witness protection, specifically domestic violence and child abuse. Worked on the O.J. Simpson trial, which was interesting. From there, I went federal. I did federal background investigations with the Federal Investigation Services Division of OPM, and I got to work all over the country, which was a tremendous gift. I got to work with state, county, federal, military, as well as all of our neighbors and everybody. From there, I got promoted to field manager, where I supervised over 350 federal agents. I managed 8 to 10 states in the southwestern portion of the United States, including Hawaii and Guam. And from there, here, I was in finance. I did a branch manager of a credit union, where I was also security director, loan officer, and then I was branch manager of a large national bank. I think all of my qualifications add to every aspect, and I've worked in every aspect of this job. And I am hoping to get to know more and more of you so we can have conversations, and I humbly ask for your vote on August 18th. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question this evening: what are the most essential duties for a successful county clerk's office? Christine Temple.
The number 1 essential duty is to ensure that we're following statute. Statute is not a suggestion. It's something that we have to follow, and we have to be very organized in ensuring that all of those things are met. They all have a purpose, and we have to work very hard to ensure that those matter. Second, I think, is servant leadership, ensuring that we're taking care of our team, high-functioning team with training and respect. And I think having both of those things and remembering that it's the voters who are our boss, that we're not the boss, I think helps us to also take care of our community in the way that, as an elected, you always have to remember it's we the people.
Thank you. Ida Shunk-Thompson.
Essential duties of the county clerk office. There are 5 divisions. Land. We are the first in the line for Sheridan County to record mortgages, lands, deeds. If we do not get that right, the assessor cannot do their job. Titles, vehicle titles. We are the first to create the title. If we don't get that right, the treasurer can't do their job. Elections. board to the county, clerk to the Board of County Commissioners. Commissioners can't even have a meeting if I'm not in attendance. And then accounting, AP, and payroll. All of these are essential duties of the county clerk's office by statute.
Thank you. Our next question, under which circumstances would you support hand counting of election ballots? Ida Shunk-Thompson.
Currently, the legislative body has adopted a law that will allow me to do a hand audit following the primary. This is the first year that law is in place. It is for this year and this year only. So that is something within my statutory duties that the legislative body has given me. I cannot choose to do a hand count audit on my own. I must follow the law, and now I am able to do that with a hand count audit starting this primary, the Saturday after primary.
Thank you. Christine Temple?
I agree 100% with Clerk Thompson. We do have SF 113 that is going to allow us to have that 5% chosen by 2 different areas by the Secretary of State's office. I think it's a fantastic opportunity. We have a large hand counting movement here in Wyoming, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity for the citizens to get together and see how it works, and I think the clerk's office needs to be open and walk them through a lot of it as well as the requirements for tabulation. Which is still a checks and balances that I think is important, but it is statutory, and our personal opinions don't really play into it. We have to follow that statute, but I do think it's a tremendous educational opportunity to work with our public to help them to continue to make the laws for our state.
Thank you. Our next question, what experience do you have in creating and coordinating a multi-department budget? Christine Temple.
So I have a lot of background in this, and I've been blessed to be able to do this at the city, county, federal levels, as well as working with the military. I've done multi-million dollar budgetary programs for everything from TDY programs through federal investigation services, even in banking. My branch here in Sheridan was one of only one of 2 affluent branches, and I had a very large budget there. I have coordinated, developed, and implemented several very high ballot level budgets, and it's been a blessing because I've been able to do that at different government levels with all kinds of areas of the private sector as well.
Thank you. Ida Shunk-Thompson.
Thank you. I have been developing a county clerk budget and election budget for the last 17 years. It's an annual thing that we do. In fact, we're coming to very important statutory deadlines this week with the public hearing we just had tonight. One of the items that I got to do was experience being the county budget officer and actually being a partaker in that as well as for the entire county and all 33 departments. And I have to share with you that I was able to cut my budget by 22% this last year and continue to reorganize and rethink things by sacrificing the chief deputy position, the title supervisor position, and the election supervisor position, and instead making 5 leads with the 5 divisions.
Thank you. Our last question this evening, what do you see as potential technologies that could improve the function and efficiency of the county clerk's office? Ida Shunk-Thompson.
It's something we continue to look at, and as I just shared with you, reorganizing the county clerk's office is the county clerk's prerogative, and it was with sadness that my chief deputy, Kim Hine, of 20-plus years, retired from Sheridan County. I learned a lot from her. With her suggestion that we go to leads, I really looked into that, and it really has created a lot of efficiencies, and it's allowed me as county clerk to get closer to those divisions and have a more hands-on and closer relationship with those leads. And I'm so thankful. This is the first year we've had so many young people. So I would just ask for your patience. We can do this, and we've lost experience with people retiring, but we have a phenomenal group coming up.
Thank you. Christine Temple.
I think technology has grown quicker in probably the last 10, 15 years than most of us have seen in our entire life. There are ways to be able to utilize the best of technology. So long as we're following statute to get in to organize all of our areas with the computer systems and everything else. I know there are certain requirements that we have to maintain paper for a certain amount of time, but we should be able to get in with technology, and even for everything from documentation to even keys to security measures, get in and develop utilizing technology to get in there and make it more efficient and run better for not just our office and our teams, but for the public as well. I know there are a few things, and especially with stuff like AI, it can be a pretty frightening thing, and I don't think we need to worry about that in our county, but we can certainly use technology.
Thank you. We'll now hear closing 2-minute statements from each candidate, starting with Christine Temple.
So I had a different closing prepared for this evening, and then something happened earlier today, and I actually am going to change it on the fly, so I hope it comes out okay for all of you. Sheridan is, I tell people, it's like a Hallmark Christmas movie. It's like going 50 years in the past. We're community, and going into politics for the first time here has been pretty eye-opening. And part of it has been a struggle because I see people I love in the community, and there's division between a lot of people. And so researching candidates and all of those is something that we have the ability to do, and I think everybody really takes their time to do so. And looking at voting records and all of these things is not dirty politics. It's a necessary thing for all of us to learn about our candidates. The other part, however, isn't. When we're being dishonest and we're misrepresenting each other and we're getting down and dirty in the swamp, those things are not what we should be doing. And Sheridan County citizens in this phenomenal place that we call home deserves better than that. I've already had to put things out because people in the clerk's office were told that if they vote for me, I will fire every single one of them. Now, other people in the office are saying, and it's an extending to husbands and other people, that I would have no authority over. So my hope is that if we in the community hear these types of dirty politics, that we please remember who that's representing and how we represent that as a candidate. And I would ask that if you hear these things about your community members, that you think about that when you're deciding who you want to vote for who you want to represent you in these offices that represent our community as a whole. And in doing so, I pray for all of these races, that you take all of that into account for who it is that you vote for. And I thank you for the opportunity to call this place our home, and I do ask for your vote and just pray that we take care of each other as a community.
Thank you. Ida Shunk-Thompson.
Thank you. I want you to know that I have enjoyed this job, and I love the people of Sheridan County. When working in the land department, we were able to bring efficiencies and wonderful things into the world of land recording. We brought in e-recording. We're using the gold standard software company to keep those records for us. And it's also with great pride that I work side by side with the attorneys and others in this community as we work with transferring personal property for those that are deceased or divorced. And it's never an easy time. And having gone through it with my own father and thinking back through that time, I'm just so thankful for that. And I appreciate the cooperation and relationships that I have with the attorneys in town as we work through that personal property transfer property. Also, I want to tell you that my staff had 2 people come to me and said, oh, we're worried we're going to get fired. And so I went to the county attorney's office with my documentation and said, this is a concern of my staff. So what was presented just now is actually the opposite. I reassured my staff that what they had heard or what their fears were would not be realized. And I did that by taking that to the county attorney's office. I wanted to thank the sheriff's office. It is amazing how hard they work with us to get all these event inspections done so we can transfer all these titles. I want to thank the treasurer's office for working with us every day and learning efficiencies on how to get your title next door to get your plates. And working with the assessor's office as we record all these valuable land documents so they can then assess you. You're welcome. But I just, it's just a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful working first floor. If you've never been on that first floor, it is an amazing group of people. Most of all, I want to thank my husband, Mark Thompson, and my staff.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking our candidates for county clerk and recorder. Next, we'd ask our candidates for county commissioners to join us on the stage. Put some out. If you go back behind, we'll let you know. Thanks, Jeff. Hey, Christy, how are you? All right, we'll begin as we have with the other offices with a 2-minute intro for county commissioners, starting with Lee Ackerley.
I just mentioned that I always hate, one thing I hated about school with the name Ackerley, you're always first. Anyway, first I want to say happy birthday, America. You know, we have the greatest country in the world. I've done a lot of traveling around the world and been to communist countries and everything. And we're pretty lucky to be citizens of America. And I want to keep it that way too. And people probably wonder how come I'm dressed kind of like the 1890s. When they had the Buffalo Bill days, I dressed like this, except I had a top hat. And I won a new pair of Tony Llamas. I'm pretty proud of that. Still have them too. But people said I either looked like a politician or a mortician. And I decided to try politician because I like to work with people, but a mortician's business is always going in the hole. Anyway, my family, my mother's ancestors come to Sheridan in 1884 by covered wagon, and a couple of them were in Buffalo Bill's show. My father's family come out here in 1893, and they stayed at the Sheridan Inn when it was brand new. By the way, it was going to be torn down, but luckily Nell J. King saved it. And so I'm pretty proud of being a native Sheridanite.
Thank you. Glenn Drummond.
I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Glenn Drummond. I was born in Buffalo, raised here in Sheridan. Graduated from Sheridan High School in 2000. My wife Jenny and I met working at Safeway when we were 16. Married in 2003, built our first home here. I was working in the coal bed methane fields at the time. When the boom ended, my work took us to Colorado, where I spent 20 years managing retail operations, running a diesel service department, and working as a construction project manager. Those jobs taught me how to manage people, budgets, and tough decisions, and how to make every dollar count. Sheridan has always been home, and when we came back, I knew I wanted to help shape this county's future. Sheridan County is at a point where thoughtful leadership matters. We need to protect what makes this place special while preparing responsibly for growth, services, housing, and the needs of local families and businesses. And we need to do it with fiscal discipline and common sense. My public service began in Basalt, Colorado, where I saw firsthand what rapid, unmanaged growth can do to a community. I ran for town council, was elected, and learned that good leadership means listening, doing the homework, and understanding that today's choices shape tomorrow's community. I also learned that smart planning saves money and prevents waste. As Sheridan County updates its comprehensive plan and joint planning area with the city of Sheridan, I bring experience from similar work in Basalt, Pickens County, and Eagle County. Strong planning for schools, law enforcement, fire services, hospital services, public works, transportation, housing, and local business keeps the community steady. As your county commissioner, I will support smart planning, efficient local government, responsible services, a strong economy, and housing options for families, seniors, and workforce that keeps this county moving. And I will always be careful steward of taxpayer dollars. It would be a privilege and honor to represent you. Together we can keep Sheridan County strong, steady, and ready for the future while protecting the place we all are proud to call home.
Thank you. Dennis Fox.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. There we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a retired Air Force officer with 20 years of flight and leadership experience. I've earned a master's degree in international relations, an undergrad in poli-sci, and have a commercial pilot's license. Been a professional carpenter, ski instructor, and a small business owner. I believe my varied and extensive education, work, and life experience will serve as a good foundation for Commissioner. I've lived here joyfully for the last 23 years. I've built a home here with my own hands, and I'm here for the duration. I'm running to fill a vacancy on the board that does a pretty good job overall, but a few commissioners have a tendency to want higher taxes and bigger government, bigger than we need. Back in 2014, when I first ran, the county spent $16 million and had a cash reserve of about $2 million. Today, they spend $27 million and have a cash reserve of almost $40 million. That's almost double the spending and 20-fold increase in cash reserves. That's the very definition of high taxing, overspending, big government. We're headed down the socialist road to ruin if we don't rein in high taxes and wasteful spending. And the Brook Street boondoggle is a perfect example of big government waste. I'm running to make a reasonable course correction back to fiscal responsibility and the founding principle of limited government. If we don't choose fiscal restraint now, we may be forced into it sooner than we want. I'd be honored to serve as your next real Republican commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Christy Burgess Haswell.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Christy Haswell, and I'm running for re-election as your county commissioner. I was born in Buffalo, Wyoming, and moved to Sheridan in 1983. I graduated from Holy Name Sheridan High School and the University of Wyoming. I'm also a graduate of Leadership Sheridan and the Sheridan Civic Project. My husband Regan and I have been married for 23 years, and we have 3 children. Our 2 boys are in Laramie playing football for the University of Wyoming Cowboys, go Pokes, and our daughter attends Sheridan High School. I worked in environmental consulting for 20 years, directing 35 staff and overseeing oil and gas, coal, and renewable energy projects across Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Montana. I bring local and statewide experience to the board. I have over 22 years of volunteerism on local boards and understand the value our businesses and nonprofits bring to our community and the challenges they face. I also sit on 3 statewide boards and appreciate the network and expanded experience. For example, I was on the Wyoming Wildlife and Natural Resource Trust Board in 2017 when Ventonata and Medusa Head were first found in Sheridan County, and I'm proud of the work we've done in Northeast Wyoming and statewide to fight invasives. Sheridan has seen a 7.5% population increase from 2020 to 2025, and it's critical we're planning for the future. It's important that government isn't a hurdle for our communities to invite businesses, be family-ready, and provide services for our residents of all ages. I'm running because I want Sheridan to be a place my children want and can come back to. That means a robust local airport, childcare facilities, affordable and attainable housing, and good jobs. As a county commissioner, that means being a proactive partner in economic development, infrastructure, and planning for sustainable growth. I would appreciate your vote August 18th.
Thank you. Holly Jennings.
Good evening. I want to first thank the Chamber of Commerce for holding this event. It's really a great event, and For all of you I can't see out there, I'm still glad that you came this evening, so it's important. 21 years ago, I was blessed to move from Oklahoma to Sheridan County. This place is my home, and since the very moment we drove in on I-90, never forget that day, I've always loved it. I got my associate's degree from Sheridan College in 2008, and then in 2009, I finished my Bachelor's of Science degree in Billings at MSU. After graduating, I came back here to Sheridan, and I worked in several different jobs. Most notably, I was a lead mentor for Volunteers of America at their youth home. I worked as a manager of Good Health Market, and I started my own photography business. In September of 2023, I was appointed to fill the county commissioner's seat vacated by Alan Thompson. I ran in 2024 to finish out the remainder of the term, and now I'm running for a full 4-year term. I spent my time as your commissioner upholding the promises I made when I first ran, to be accountable, to be fiscally responsible, to read and research the information before I vote, to seek God's wisdom, and to listen to you, the citizens of this great county. I haven't changed who I am or the values I uphold. They're an integral part of me. I believe in the people of this county and state, and I will never forget the honor I've been given to be your representative. And I ask for that honor again on August 18th.
Thank you. Carla Cayley.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for making this evening possible. There are times in our lives when it's necessary to stand up, to step up, and to do something that just needs to be done. This is one of those times. My name is Carla Cayley, and I'm running for County Commissioner, and let me tell you why. I'm completely and utterly fed up with the ongoing unnecessary high increases in property taxes. At the current rate, I fear many of us taxpayers could be forced out of our homes. I want lower property taxes for all property owners in Sheridan County, residential, commercial, and business, which have currently had no relief. We need sweeping tax reform and better assessment methods for all types of properties. I'm pro-business and pro-citizen. Tax reform is absolutely possible without compromising essential services, the only purpose for which local government exists. Optimize police, fire, and first responder services, along with a balanced mix of housing stock and economic opportunities, are the cornerstones for healthy, vibrant communities. Unfortunately, our current leadership has fallen short in some of these areas. Our rural fire suppression teams are inadequately funded. Our countywide first responder communications networks have significant gaps in coverage. Our housing stock is out of balance, and we've failed to plan and preserve our agricultural working force. Our current leadership has known about these deficiencies, and all we have seen so far are higher property taxes. I'm also concerned about affordable housing in Sheridan County. I understand how the lack of affordable housing impacts our workforce, as well as what it means for upcoming generations. I have a plan for this. I know how to solve that problem. I believe strongly in local focus and local control. I'm currently leading the community opposition to the YDOT's Coffeen and Brundage Concrete Center Median Barrier Project, which will damage our economy, complicate navigation for everyone, and create a number of safety issues for us all. I'm also fed up with pet projects that benefit only a select few and don't address countywide issues. I'm running for County Commissioner because Sheridan County is headed in the wrong direction. We are losing our identity, losing our Western heritage, and our Wyoming way of life is in jeopardy. A change in leadership is in order. Thank you.
Thank you. James R. Schellinger.
I want to thank the Sheridan County Chamber of Commerce, the Governmental Affairs Committee, and all of you folks for turning out tonight. This is on a Monday night. This is really, really good to see. I'm Jim Schellinger. I'm a Wyoming native, born in Casper and raised in Glen Rock, where I grew up working ranches and eventually in oil field construction to put myself through college. I received an associate's degree in business from Northwest Community College in Powell and a bachelor's degree in business administration from Black Hills State University. I moved to Sheridan in 1989 to work for KROE Radio, now Sheridan Media Marketing Group, where I'm currently Director of Sales. My lovely wife, Cheryl, and I recently celebrated our 39th anniversary, and we raised our 2 children, Cody and Cassidy, right here in Sheridan. Both are graduates of Sheridan High School and Sheridan College. Over the years, I've been involved with several community groups and organizations, including the Sheridan County Chamber of Commerce, 2 terms as a City of Sheridan councilman, a trustee of the Elks Lodge, a board member of Sheridan Travel and Tourism. I've served 2 terms on the Wyoming Animal Damage Management Board, and I'm currently a Sheridan County Republican Party committeeman. Now, I want to put my proven leadership and common sense approach to work for you as your Sheridan County Commissioner. My goals for office are simple: to help set policy that manages continuing growth while preserving our ag lands for future use, to maintain and improve our basic infrastructure, which is suffering from substantially increased use, and to wisely use tax revenues across the board to protect funding for essential services while providing for the general welfare of all Sheridan residents.
Thank you. Harley Shuck.
Well, he already gave you my name, so I don't need to double down on that. My wife and I have been property owners and taxpayers in the county for 35 years. Prior to that, I did graduate with an engineering degree out of state. I lived on the West Coast for a few years and would never want to go back out there. Things have really gotten bad, but the trend that I see is the things that are happening out there 15, 20 years ago are coming here now, and we need to put the brakes on. The lovely Brook Street project was mentioned earlier. That little fiasco cost us over $3.5 million start to finish, and it's not finished yet. I see county warrants listed another expenditure for it just this last month. When does this stuff stop? Seems like we're trying to make Sheridan a second Jackson Hole, and one Jackson Hole in the state of Wyoming is one too many. We don't need to go down that road. We've got most of our representation on the commission, and I would say most of what we have here all live within 15 miles of the center of Sheridan. I did that little exercise, throw that circle around the center of Sheridan, and that's where we all are. There's one other gentleman up here that's not, and there's another gentleman running that did not come today, and myself are the only ones outside that circle. We need some representation out in the county. What works at the Powderhorn and the Powderhorn environs doesn't work for us out in the hinterlands. So that's why I'm here tonight, and I'm hoping to talk some people into thinking my way. Thank you.
Thank you. The first question this evening: what do you think are the most critical elements of the county's comprehensive plan? We'll begin with Harley Shuck.
Okay, right back to that same thing we were just talking about. We want to do a comprehensive plan and do a top-down management here. That's not the kind of thing that we do in America. That's the kind of thing they used to do in the Soviet Union. I believe that we need to not be planning what everybody can and can't do on their properties. Maybe that works, like I said, at the Powderhorn, but you get out on Badger Creek or Wild Horse Road or out on Pass Creek, we don't need to be dictated to. So I really think that if you want to do that kind of planning around Sheridan, around the city, that's fine, but countywide, no, I don't think so.
Thank you. Lee Ackerley.
I have to go along with most of that. By the way, I've owned a house in Sheridan since 1971, but I also was lucky to be able to buy a ranch 40 miles east of here, out past Arno. So I know what both worlds are like. And I don't like somebody telling me what to do on my ranch either, and I think we should have a little bit more say about what we do in the city limits too.
Thank you. Glenn Drummond.
So the first comprehensive plan that was ever adopted in Sheridan County was in 1986. So this has been a standard of this community to understand how we're going to control and manage growth going forward. If we don't want a neighbor that's going to build a subdivision next to our irrigation land or our horse property, we need to have standards that exist so that we can manage these things and we can control our growth. We've got plenty of new people coming into this community who might live from California and want to have things that were done that way. If we have a plan, we can manage it and we can control it. That is the key to the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Dennis Fox.
I've read the comprehensive plan cover to cover, and it's a good plan. I think smart growth is optimal. I understand zoning, but we have to respect private property, especially when you get out in the county. When you have large tracts of land, we need to be very respectful of that landowner's right to do with it as he chooses to do. This is America, after all, and freedom rings.
Thank you. Christy Haswell.
Thank you. I think one of the most critical components to the comprehensive plan that needs to be updated, by the way, I would be voting in support of that next year if elected, was our public engagement piece of that. We wanted to hear from the community where they wanted open space, where they wanted industrial development, rural residential, or more dense urban residential. And I want to point out that these are guidelines, these are not regulations. This is a tool in our toolbox that planning and zoning and the commissioners can use to better plan for what we want the future to look like.
Thank you. Holly Jennings.
Yeah, I would agree that, you know, the biggest portion, the most critical element of the comprehensive plan for me is the statements about protecting private property rights. Now, I am going to agree with Commissioner Haswell that we certainly want citizen engagement. Now, as I've read the comprehensive plan, there was really only about 100 citizens that were involved. And it says that right in the comprehensive plan. In what we're doing for this entire county. If we're going to continue doing any kind of planning, we need way more engagement. But I think we really need to dial down on the fact of private property rights. We shouldn't be telling our neighbor, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, unless there's specific reasons.
Carla, thank you. Carla Cayley.
Yes, thank you. I think the number one thing we need to be looking at in our comprehensive plan is land use and zoning. We need to be looking at proper mix of housing types and in coordination with the development and the growth that is inevitable. People want what we have, and they're coming here. And things change if we don't have an adequate plan. Right now, our plan is okay, but I think it could be improved. I will tell you the reason we don't have affordable housing here in Sheridan County is because our housing mix is upside down. An ideal housing mix for a healthy community would include about 50 to 65% single-family homes. We have 74%. A healthy community would have 15 to 30%. High-end would be 30 in today's market of duplex, triplex, and those middle, what we call missing middle housing units. We only have 7%. I would work at housing and development to look at this. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Schellinger.
You know, as a councilman, I had to struggle with this for 8 years. We constantly were looking at growth plans. We worked with the county very closely to see where we wanted growth to go. The community engagement, it's always going to, we've always had, it's been low even back then. But there's some of the things that Carla had pointed out, you know, the zoning issues, some of the infrastructure upgrades that we need to be looking at, that needs to go into this plan. You need to look at where those subdivisions need to be going, where's that growth going to happen, and how are you going to control that, and how are you going to provide for that? There's going to be a lot of things to look at in that growth plan, and I think that's probably one of the most important things that's going to come out of the next group of county commissioners.
Thank you. Our next question, if the county's budget were to decrease significantly, what county services would you prioritize protecting and which would you eliminate? Jim Schellinger.
This ought to be a popular question. You know, I look at the county and all the employees, and I've, you know, as managing a business, I know that the most important thing to any organization is the employees that work for it. And, you know, you see a lot of places like the sheriff's office that really, they're 3 officers short. There are some things there that they need. I would take a look at that. I would also probably take a look at some of the infrastructure that we haven't addressed. That would be something that we really need to take a look at. You know, I know there's some things at the fairgrounds. There's some things all over in all of the things that we are in charge of managing as county commissioners. And you know, but I do think that public safety, fire, civil service is probably the first thing I would look at.
Thank you. Harley Shuck.
Well, obviously, if you're going to get short, you've got to cut back to essential services. Obviously, that would mean our emergency services and the one thing that we really can't do on our own, and that's the maintenance of our county roads and infrastructure. That's the primary reason that all of us pay taxes, so that we can have roads to drive on, so that we can get around. There's snow removal. If you're going to cut back on things, then let's cut back on all these new fancy add-ons that we've had. Obviously, we don't need to build new fairgrounds. We don't need fancy signs up there. We certainly didn't need that $3.5 million boondoggle on Brook Street. So let's get back to essential things.
Thank you. Lee Ackerley.
Of course, we do need things, you know, like the police and fire department and all that. But one of the questions I've never been able to answer is why, when somebody's having a heart attack, you have to send $1 million fire truck to their house. Doesn't make sense to me. An ambulance, of course, but there's a lot of things that are like these historic houses being bulldozed and hauled to the dump with our tax money. That needs to stop.
Thank you. Glenn Drummond.
Well, that's not a fun question, but I think what you would have to do is you'd have to get with all your department heads, all the other elected officials, and everybody would have to work together with a plan like Sheridan County has always done to figure out how we're going to provide the essential services and do it within the budget and do it with the amount of money that we have coming in. It's not a simple decision as I can tell you what's going to be done. It's all the department heads, it's all the elected officials from the sheriff, the assessor, the clerk, and it wouldn't be a fun task to face, but unfortunately if that happens, you're going to have to do it. That's part of the job.
Thank you. Dennis Fox.
Well, first of all, I'm not too sure we're going to see a budget decrease, but if we were to do that, it's a primary job of government to protect our lives, our liberty, and our property. We do that by budgeting with priorities, difference between want and needs. The needs are police, first responders, courts, and basic infrastructure. Everything else is a want, and every want can be funded voluntarily.
Thank you. Christy Haswell.
Thank you. Yeah, as everyone has said, that's a tough one because we have a lot of statutes that require us to continue doing our job. Obviously, you know, we've heard about the sheriff's office, fire districts, but our clerk, our treasurer, and our assessor are also essential services to following the law in the state. So really, you know, I think it would be those capital projects. You know, next year we might have to look at postponing the HVAC upgrade to the courthouse. But we also have to remember, by statute, we're required to take care of our property. So.
Thank you. Holly Jennings.
Yeah, I'm going to agree that essential services, we must prioritize them. And the county has faced ups and downs throughout the years. I was actually looking at a document not too long ago where they were talking about, revenue has fallen. We're looking at having to lay off everybody. I don't want to see that. What I want to see is we prioritize essential services, and then capital projects are things that you say, no. Maybe is this, first of all, should we be doing it? The HVAC system, I think it's 20-some years. I think we're not going to get by very much further without doing that one. But there's other things that we can do and say, no, not this year, or maybe not at all.
Thank you. Carla Cayley.
Yes, thank you. This question is loosely nested in the concept that if we reduce property taxes, that somehow we're going to hurt our county and not be able to deliver our essential services. So let me tell you one thing. Even if we didn't pay another county property tax for an entire year, it's my understanding that we have a 3-year surplus and we could function just fine. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do that. I am saying it would be okay to cut property taxes and to reduce our spending. But here's what I will say. I completely support and will protect the funding and delivery of all essential county services. I will not support the spending of taxpayer dollars in ways that run counter to this goal and that create an unequal or disparate economic impact on our citizens, especially in ways that could impact private sector. I support essential services, and I don't believe we'll have that.
Thank you. All right, our next question this evening, what is the most important revenue source within the control of the county commissioners? What revenue sources are not in control of the county commissioners? Carla Cayley.
Thank you. The most important revenue sources in control would be property taxes. The ones that are not in our control would be things that come in through the state services dictated through state statute. They could be oil and mineral rights and surplus funds that come from that. I believe property taxes is the one area where we should start in looking at our budget and doing something that we could take care of and handle that would change the quality of life for all of the citizens in our county, at all of our communities in the local areas, not just in the city of Sheridan. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Schellinger.
Could you repeat the question for me really quickly?
Sure. What is the most important revenue source within the control of the county commissioners? What revenue sources are not in control of the county commissioners?
Well, obviously, there are a lot of state taxes that come into the county. Mill levies are controlled substantially by the county. Some property taxes, yes. Mineral taxes, not controlled by the county. And some of the other state funding that comes in, we really don't have a lot of control over. But I just wanted to make sure I got that question right, because the last one was a surplus question, and everybody treated it like it was a even deficit question, and I was like, I want to make sure I got that right. But yeah, that's about where we're at.
Thank you. Harley Shuck.
Well, what's within the purview of the county commission? Obviously, a lot of those taxes do come down from the state level, but we do have control here, not just by the county commission, but by the people, and whether or not we vote in that extra penny again. We could give ourselves a tax break that way, but we also have the ability on our property taxes. How they are figured is dictated by statute, but the commission does have the ability to lower the mill levies, and that would give everyone a break on their property taxes. With everything that's being spent, I think we could well afford to drop that mill levy a point or two.
Thank you. Lee Ackerley.
Yeah, I believe that the commissioners do have some control, but not all the control over our taxes and that kind of thing. My house in town, every time I see one of the neighbors' houses go up for sale, I know my taxes are going to go up because they'll sell their house for more than they paid for it, which I don't blame them, but I plan on keeping my house the rest of my life, and I don't like paying more and more taxes and really not gaining anything by it. So I think we need to kind of cut back a little. I don't think we need 1% sales taxes like we have now.
Thank you. Glenn Drummond.
The county commission does have somewhat say over the property tax. Other than that, most everything is dictated by statute from the state. GPET is a big bonus for this community, as we get 62% of that funding from tourists that come in from out of town, so it actually doesn't come out of our pockets. It's a good way to infill for less property taxes. As far as what we get a control, I mean, it's state statute. We just don't have a lot of options. It dictates how it's going to be, what we have to fund, how we have to fund it, what we have to take care of, and those things are written in law.
Thank you. Dennis Fox.
The commissioners control the base county mill rate. It's at 12. That's the highest allowed by law. I know of one commissioner who has tried 3 times to lower that mill rate, and I'm totally in favor of that. I think we could drop it 1, 2, or even 3 mills and not have a problem. We don't know what it's like to have lower taxes in Sheridan County because we haven't lowered them in a long time. We control the mill rate, and I will promise you I will vote to lower it at least 2 mills, my first opportunity. The other thing that they don't control but have influence over is the 1%. And I've heard for years, for 2 decades now, commissioners saying, well, I think higher taxes are good for you. Oh no, they say, I think it does some good. I don't think high taxes are good for you, and I will say that.
Thank you. Christy Haswell?
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to touch quickly on the comments about reserves. I don't know where some of these numbers are coming from, but we have about 16 million, which isn't even our annual budget. We have another maybe 9 in our checking account, so about maybe a year's operating. As you've heard tonight, the mills are where we have the most control over our revenue source. I've heard some comments about our optional 1 cent and our cap tax. Those have been approved by the voters since 1998, if not before then. That has been a decision by the people.
Thank you. Holly Jennings?
So the question is, what is the most important revenue? I actually brought the budget, the proposed budget, which shows for the last couple of years, and most everyone has set it up here. The main revenue that is in control, partially in control by the county commissioners, is just the mill levy, which is a portion of the equation. Of course, you have the state portion that comes in on that. The only other place that I know of that the county has a little bit of control is when the cap tax comes up. The county commissioners are the ones that set the amount, and then it goes to the people for the vote. Other taxes that are not really in our purview at all, PILT, which is payment in lieu of taxes, your cigarette tax, your direct distribution. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Our final question this evening: what do you see as the County Commission's role in oversight and support of special districts? Holly Jennings.
Okay, so oversight and support of special districts. I think our special districts, for the most part, are very important. Fire districts, beyond important in this area, in this state. Our conservation district that takes care of a lot of our water, our weed and pest district, all of these are incredibly important. Most of them are funded through property taxes and mills, and I don't think it really can be stressed how important it is that we work with these districts to make sure that the services that we need that are most important to us and the state are protected.
Thank you. Carla Cayley?
Yes, thank you. I agree. It can't be overstated how important the function of these special districts are, from water quality, distribution, and quantity to fire services. As far as supporting and oversight, we need to make sure that they are properly funded in the sense of the resources they have to do the work that needs to be done, and also to make sure that there is a proper direction and support for addressing problems and issues and meeting short and long-term goals for managing these resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Schellinger?
You know, that question is, it's the same for everybody. I mean, fire districts, weed and pest, water, the support is extremely important from the county commission to all these folks. One of the things you've got to be able to do, though, is you've got to be able to have a conversation. You've got to get people involved that are part of these different districts, and really have those hard conversations with them, and show them that you're willing to support them, as well as just talk about it. And like I said, having done this on the council for years, I get it. You've got to work with people and make these things more substantial.
Thank you. Harley Shuck?
Well, I'll go along with that. These special districts do provide a lot of services that we really couldn't do without the fire districts, especially. Another one that I haven't heard mentioned here tonight is the predator management district, fighting rabies throughout the county. That's going to be a big one coming up. It's growing. But we do need to keep track of these things. We need to do them all within a proper budget and not let that, we don't write blank checks. But we do need to provide these services and back up these districts.
Thank you. Lee Ackerley?
Well, I would have to examine each one separately and decide, you know, if they're getting too much money or not enough and what they're going to do and all that. I wasn't involved in politics up until, well, vote, of course, but I just have to educate myself more on what's going on in that operation.
Thank you. Glenn Drummond?
Working with the special districts is definitely important for the county commission. They are voted for by the citizens of the county. They're approved by the county. Their board members are put in place by the citizens that are here. And that's the best part about them, is you've got all the control that you want, because you get to pick your people, you get to choose them, you get to choose who's on those boards, and then as a county commissioner, it's of the utmost importance to work with those board members to further the goals that every one of those special districts is trying to achieve.
Thank you. Dennis Fox?
We need all of the special districts that we already have, and I support them completely. What we don't need is to add another property tax increase. This one is being floated as a senior district. It'll raise your property taxes by 2 mills. This is not a good time to raise property taxes. It makes no sense to take 2 mills to increase property taxes on seniors, send it into the government for board members and politicians to decide how to resend that money back to you to help you. Thank you.
Thank you. Christy Haswell?
Thank you. And just to clarify, 2 mills would be about $100 for a $500,000 home. The medium homes in Sheridan are about $430,000. The oversight of special districts, I mean, it's really the structure and guidance is set up by statute. There are times where financial oversight is required. For example, maybe a federal grant that came in that wasn't reported correctly, and that's when the county is there to help make sure that that audit comes out clean. There's also examples of folks wanting to create a special district for, let's say, a water improvement district, and I'm supportive of those as well.
Thank you. We'll now have final closing 2-minute statements, starting with Christy Haswell.
Thank you. I'm a pragmatic leader who approaches real issues logically and realistically without making it political. We should be taking care of our local airport, no matter who is in the federal administration. That's taking care of our businesses and residents. That's economic development and planning for our future. We should be supporting planning and zoning permits, like the Bighorn Rec and Early Learning Center. That project not only creates recreational space for school-aged children and our seniors, but expands childcare and early learning facilities, supporting our working parents. Those facilities are now in a safer place in terms of vehicle traffic and security, and that in turn has opened up more classroom space for the elementary and middle school. That's being family ready, and it's a win all around. I would like to share a quote from the Gulch Road residents that I believe speaks to my commitment for planning for the future for Sheridan County. Actions matter, and Commissioner Christy Haswell proved it. She fought for Gulch Road waterline, advocating for residents both here at home and twice down in Cheyenne, where she testified before the SLIB board on our behalf. That's the kind of leadership that gets results for Sheridan County. Re-elect Christy Haswell to continue bringing strong representation, practical solutions, and a proven commitment to the people of Sheridan County. So thank you to those Gulch Road folks. I would appreciate your vote August 18th to continue serving Sheridan County, being a proactive partner in economic development, infrastructure development, and maintenance and planning for sustainable growth.
Thank you. Holly Jennings?
So this month, we're going to be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We've already celebrated, but continue to, and the birth of this nation. Our founding fathers gave everything they had, pledging their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to secure a future for us all. What a blessing we have been given in the form of a government that was created to provide the best opportunity for freedom and the chance at life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We can never forget the sacrifices they and so many more have given that we may enjoy it. I fear that as we drift from those guiding principles, the spirit of independence, hard work, and desire to thrive will further diminish. I believe that there's still hope there. Hope that the ship can be righted and we can turn back towards the lamp of liberty. My favorite line in the Star-Spangled Banner has always been, "The bombs bursting in air gave proof for the night that our flag was still there." It chokes me up every time, because despite everything, our flag, our country, and our American spirit is still there, but keeping it takes work and vigilance. When asked after the Federal Convention of 1787 what type of government we would have, Benjamin Franklin replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm running, to continue to be that barrier that always stands for freedom against those who want to see bigger government and less liberty, to make sure we keep the republic that we all love. As I said earlier, my values and how I vote hasn't changed. And despite what anyone else may think, I firmly believe that we need public servants who understand that you are the boss, not the other way around. The choice is yours, and I would like to ask you for the honor to earn your vote and continue to represent Sheridan County as your commissioner for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Carla Cayley.
Thank you. I'm running for county commissioner because Sheridan County is headed in the wrong direction, but I absolutely believe we can turn the tide on this, and together we can change it and put it in the right direction. I'm committed and I'm capable. I served as a Sheridan County Republican Party Precinct Committee woman in 2026 and was elected by my peers as a delegate to attend and represent Sheridan County at the statewide Republican convention. I'm not a politician. I'm a businesswoman and property owner. I was born and raised in a small town in Alaska, 3,000 people, where fishing, forestry, and tourism were the main industries. I grew up in a family-owned petroleum business. My first job was licking stamps, back when stamps still needed to be licked. I was 6 years old. In high school, I worked for $25 an hour. I stripped lead line and mended commercial gill nets for local fishermen. I understand the value of money. My money is hard-earned. It doesn't grow on trees, and I bet yours doesn't either. At age 17, I graduated high school, earned a bachelor's degree in chemistry and biology. I have a PhD in endocrinology from UC Davis from the School of Agriculture. After graduate school, I worked 14 years in government as a toxicologist and technical communications coordinator. As a private contractor, I've worked with business owners, local communities, first responders, and wildland firefighters. I taught safety classes at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. I bought my first home at the age 23. I never looked back. I've been a commercial real estate investor and business owner for 40 years. I know business and I understand economics. At one point, I had more than 37 staff that worked for me. I acknowledge, respect, and admire Sheridan County's historical communities and its historical residents. I and my husband, Richard, of 28 years, moved to Sheridan County not to change it, but rather to embrace and savor its rural Western heritage and its enviable quality of life. Quality of life I want to protect. In my candidacy for Sheridan County Commissioner, I recognize an opportunity to assist in preserving and protecting our rural Wyoming way of life for all Sheridan County communities, all taxpayers, and all citizens. I respectfully and humbly ask for your vote on August 18th. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Schellinger.
Once again, thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and the Government Affairs Committee and all of you for being here tonight. Shows a real commitment. I'm really proud of you. I'm not the candidate up here that sees doom and gloom all around us. Yes, there are things that we need to watch and we need to manage and control, but I am not that doom and gloom candidate. I'd like to say in closing that I've traveled all over the country and visited some really nice places, but I've never found a better place to live and raise a family than right here in Sheridan, Wyoming. As I pointed out in my introduction, I've lived, worked, and been heavily involved in Sheridan for 37 years. Many of you know me through my efforts to help our communities grow and thrive over the years. And I'm convinced that there are many reasons why each of us live here in Sheridan County. Among these are low taxes, clean air, clean water, good roads, public safety, great schools, health care, transportation, and a plethora of recreational opportunities. Recently, it seems like many of these things are being somewhat threatened, and I'm running to help protect what I feel are the attributes that continue to add to the quality of life many of us have come to enjoy. On August 18th, some important decisions are going to be made about the direction of this county, and I would appreciate your vote. With your help, I will bring my leadership skills and common sense approach to the office of County Commissioner. Thank you again for being here tonight, and I look forward to talking with many of you throughout the campaign.
Thank you. Harley Shuck.
Well, like everybody else, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and listening to us prattle on. Thanks to the commission for putting this on. Like I said, we have been property owners here for 35 years, and I am noticing a trend here that I am not real happy with. We're seeing more and more top-down control. Taxes have gone up. We've got a lot more control of what we can do and what we can't do on our own properties out in the county. A lot of these things, maybe if you're in this city area, I've heard it referred to as a metropolitan area and as an urban area, but it's the rural area that's kind of taken the beating on all this. We don't need to have to ask permission from the government in order to do what we want to do on our properties. If we want to build a barn or improve our property, we don't need to get a permit for that, which also adds up. Somebody's got to inspect the permit, make sure we follow it, and it adds a lot of cost that we don't need to absorb, we don't need to pay. So what I'm trying to do is turn things back a little bit, get back to the freedoms that made this country what it is, and come back to reality. We don't need to spend all this money, and we don't need to tax ourselves to death. And that's why I'm running. We need to get back to the principles that made America what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Ackerley?
Yeah, I'd like to mention that my family has been Republican ever since my great-great-grandfather fought under Abraham Lincoln, who was the first Republican president, contrary to what the news media said. And in the past, you know, we kind of thought ourselves as being independent, so once in a while we might vote for a local Democrat. But I don't like what's going on, especially now, with all the woke wackos and all that. And I just want to say, as a conservative Republican, I believe in limited government, limited taxes, freedom, gun rights, and of course, I'm a constitutionalist. Now, if I get elected, I'll fight against business as usual. And one thing I don't understand about people is they think if they vote for more taxes, they'll get something for free. I don't understand that myself. I do believe a 1% sales tax is good because, like the Hub, that's a good community place that everybody enjoys. I don't want Sheridan to be turned into another Jackson, and I've predicted that ever since the 70s when I saw all these subdivisions going in on irrigated cropland. And I just would like everybody to help me get elected if you kind of like what I say. I do believe we have some other good candidates up here too. So thank you for being here and letting me get in on this.
Thank you. Glenn Drummond?
I'd like to also thank everyone else for showing up, everybody being here, taking the time out of your night to come and listen to us. As we look ahead, Sheridan County needs leadership that is community-focused, fiscally responsible, and focused on efficient, forward-looking services. I believe in thoughtful decision-making, and I will work to ensure our county departments have the resources they need while being stewards of taxpayer dollars. Growth is coming, and it must be balanced. We need to protect the character of our towns, rural areas, while understanding the impact growth has on schools, law enforcement, fire services, hospital services, public works, and transportation. Smart, deliberate planning is how we maintain the quality of life that makes Sheridan County special. A strong county also depends on staying connected, economically, socially, and through infrastructure that links our communities. Whether you live in Dayton, Ranchester, Story, Bighorn, Claremont, Leiter, Ucross, Parkman, Wyarno, Arvada, or Sheridan, we are one county, and our decisions should reflect that. We also must support the people who will shape our future and those who built our past. That means creating opportunities for our youth in education, recreation, and workforce development, and ensuring our seniors have access to services, housing, and community support they need to live with dignity and independence. Locally owned business remain the backbone of our economy, and I will prioritize policies that help them thrive. I will support responsible housing choices for families, seniors, workers, and longtime residents so people who make Sheridan County can continue to call it home. Sheridan County is at a moment when thoughtful leadership truly matters. My public service experience, background managing people in complex operations, and deep roots in this community have prepared me to serve with steadiness, accountability, and respect for public trust. It would be a privilege and honor to represent you as your next county commissioner. Together, we can keep Sheridan County strong, steady, and prepared for the future while protecting the place we are proud to call home. I would ask for your vote. Vote for Glenn Drummond, Sheridan County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis Fox?
The reason we should focus on taxes is because that's where the rubber meets the road. For most of us, paying property, sales, and vehicle taxes are the only interaction we have with government, and it's usually a net negative. We pay, government spends, and it's always too much. Know this truth. All taxes are collected by coercive force. That force is only implied as long as we comply. But refuse to pay your taxes, and that implied force will become applied force. Don't pay your property taxes, and men with guns will evict you from the house you thought you owned and sell it for back taxes. All taxes are collected by force, up to and including the point of a gun. That's why we must be so extremely careful about what we decide to fund with forced taxation. We shouldn't put a gun to our neighbor's head and force them to buy art and theater tickets. Yet today, we do just that, metaphorically speaking, of course. Forced taxation should only be used to fund essential services, like police, courts, and basic infrastructure. Everything else should be funded by voluntary methods. It's pretty simple. Taxes for needs, donations for wants. We need to redraw a clear, bright line between essential needs and non-essential wants, then fund them appropriately. We need to restore the founding principle of limited government and follow the Wyoming Constitution. I'd be honored to serve as your next new fiscally responsible commissioner. Thank you, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking our candidates for County Commissioner. Next, if we could have our candidates for Sheridan Council, please join at the stage. All right, so our final group of the evening, Sheridan Council, I have a statement to read for Nephi Cole. It's a statement from Nephi. Sheridan is the best city in Wyoming, the best state in the greatest country in the world. The voices lamenting its demise are wrong-minded, but the good things about Sheridan need to be protected and maintained while we build opportunities for our community to give our kids the chance to live in a town that is still the best place on earth. I am Nephi John Cole, and I will work to keep Sheridan great. A well-run town is clean. It has streets and infrastructure that work. Its government is small enough that you forget about it. It does the job without running your life. Good government means that private individuals, businesses, churches, and private organizations do most of the work. Government's role should be limited, but responsive, positive, professional, and accountable. I work for Matt Mead for both terms as policy advisor working on energy, water, natural resources, outdoor recreation, and firearms. I work in politics now as Director of Conservation Policy, State and Government Affairs for the firearm industry of America. In both capacities, my job has been to listen to people, protect good things, and keep doors open so they can find and build on opportunities. I know good government. I work with good and bad every day. In most cases, the best thing that government can do is be less. Less regulation is better. Less red tape is better. Streamlining, creating efficiency, and accountability are possible in government. I'll deliver that as a member of the council. My track record proves it. Our city council is the steering wheel. We need people on the council who are good at getting there, not backseat drivers who would wreck the car. We need competent doers. Complaining is different than fixing. Too many of today's political candidates are simply complainers. They are breakers, not fixers. There's a big difference between those those who whine, and those that do. I wish I could be there. I am not, because I am out doing the work, defending Second Amendment rights and businesses from bad politicians. I'm good at my job. I hope that I can work for you as a member of the Sheridan City Council. So next we'll go into our 2-minute intros for the candidates who are here tonight, starting with Amber Horsley.
Hello, I'm Amber Horsley, and I grew up in Wyoming riding horses on the Arapaho Reservation as the daughter of missionary parents. I am well educated with 2 bachelor's degrees. I have also served on 2 church boards. I've worked for Dr. James Dobson at Focus on the Family, and I've also worked in bronze artistry. My husband and I are contacts for Operation Blessing, an international disaster relief organization that is ready to bring in semi-trucks of food, medical supplies, as well as helicopters if the city needs it. We also support the Legacy Pregnancy Center and have walked in the Walk for Life for many years now. I love this community and the people here. I would like to see it preserved well for future generations. Jesus Christ has shed his blood for the forgiveness of my sins, and I hope to represent him well within the city. I have lived here for 16 years. My husband and I enjoy raising our family here. I am running to preserve Sheridan and to uphold the Wyoming Constitution.
Thank you. Greg Luman.
Probably could do it without this. I am going to give you some background. If you were here 4 years ago, sorry, you're going to hear it again. I am from a family farm, 5th generation. That's where I learned to work hard and what family means to you. I also went to junior college, got my associate in arts and played football for them, and then I transferred on to a 4-year college, Gustavus Adolphus College, and got a BA in liberal arts and also in education. I sub-taught for 6 very long months, and that was probably the hardest time of my life. Then I also a student activities advisor at the college that I went to, and then coached football and track at that college. I worked 6 summers in Yellowstone, and that's really where I got my love for Wyoming, was coming through this area and going to Yellowstone and going into Montana at my uncle's ranch. I missed 88 fires because I was in Europe playing football. I've worked 27 years at the fire department, ending as a captain. 26 years I ran Sheridan Fire Equipment as a business owner with another business partner. I am currently a member of Downtown Sheridan Association, Sheridan Public Arts Committee, Museum at the Bighorns, Chamber of Commerce, Emmanuel Lutheran Church, Bighorn Arts Council, and then also the Wyoming Historical Society. I am married to a lovely woman, Shelley, for the last 11 years, and I have 4 sons, 1 grandson, 1 granddaughter. And I say all this because I really am a true believer that experience is the educator of life. What you've experienced is what you can draw from and draw your knowledge base from. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Patzik.
All right. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who stayed through to the council tonight. You're right to the bitter end. My name is Andrew Patzig. It's been an honor to serve you as one of your council members for the last 3.5 years. I was born and raised in Wyoming. My wife is from Sheridan. After we got married, we moved away for a few years because, as they say, home is what you spend 18 years trying to get away from and the rest of your life trying to get back to. We were very fortunate in that we were able to come home 13 years ago. Today we're raising our 4 kids here. One is currently attending the United States Naval Academy and is completing his plebe summer right now, and the other 3 are still here with us. Like many parents, I want my children and my grandchildren to be able to live here and build their lives in Sheridan, and that's why I care so deeply about the decisions that the council makes. 4 years ago, I ran for office because I believed Sheridan deserved fiscally responsible leadership, thoughtful management of growth, protection of individual freedoms, and protecting the values that our community holds dear. Those principles continue to guide my votes today. I voted to protect tax dollars by opposing unnecessary spending, opposed using taxpayer money to subsidize private interest and government-favored businesses, and stood against funding organizations that lobby for bigger government and higher taxes. I believe city government should focus on core responsibilities. They should spend your money wisely, protect your freedoms, and preserve the qualities that make Sheridan one of the best places to live in Wyoming. I'm proud of the voting record I've built, and I would be honored to earn your vote to continue serving the people of Sheridan. Thank you.
Thank you. Harry Pollock.
Good evening. Ooh, sorry. Wow. Thank you, the Chamber, for putting on the forum and for all of you staying. My name is Harry Pollock, and I'm running for Sheridan City Council because I believe it's time to put Sheridan first. To me, putting Sheridan first is putting the people, taxpayers, families, small business, the future of this community ahead of politics, special interest, and unnecessary government growth. Sheridan's not just another town. It's a community built on faith, family, freedom, hard work, personal responsibility, and neighbors helping neighbors. Those values are worth protecting. I believe city government should be limited, transparent, and accountable. Its job is not to control people's lives or spend taxpayers' money without a clear public purpose. Its job is to focus on the basics: public safety, roads, water, sewer, infrastructure, planning, and responsible budgeting. What I hear at the door, people are concerned about affordability, growth, housing, traffic, zoning, and whether their voices are actually being heard. These problems do not require bigger government. They require leadership with focused priorities and common sense. Putting Sheridan first means protecting private property rights, reducing unnecessary red tape, encouraging local businesses, and ensuring growth does not destroy the character of the community we love. I support charity and the mission of many nonprofits, but city government is not the general donation fund. Under the Wyoming Constitution, taxpayer money must be handled carefully, with limited exceptions, such as the necessary support of the poor. If public dollars are involved, they must be legal, transparent, accountable, and tied to proper public purposes. I'm running to protect taxpayers, defend Sheridan values, restore trust, and make sure City Council, remembers who it works for, the people of Sheridan. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Weitzel.
Yes, I'd like to thank this Chamber of Commerce for organizing this forum. I'm Terry Weitzel, and I'm running for re-election to the Sheridan City Council. I have brought conscientious, responsible leadership to the city of Sheridan, and I want to continue moving our beautiful community forward. I am proud of what the Sheridan City Council has accomplished over the past 3.5 years. I support initiatives that preserve the character of our downtown, support our businesses, and provide a good atmosphere for balanced job growth and better affordable housing. I support initiatives that ensure that our community is safe and secure, provides adequate resources to maintain our streets, water, sewer, parks, pathways, clean waterways, and trails while being attentive to the cost to taxpayers. I support GPET funds, also known as the optional 1-cent tax. It is not a new tax. It is voted on and renewed every 4 years. It is part of our sales tax, of which visitors to our city pay approximately 71%. I heard some individuals say that it was 62%. It was, and it has gone up to 71%. That is a windfall for us locally. GPET has supported the recent renovation of Kendrick Pool, the establishment of Crinky Park, and pavement improvements to our streets, among other worthwhile city projects. In fact, tonight the City Council just passed the funding on a pavement improvement project in a neighborhood north of Mavracas Pond, paid in part by GPET. GPET has also helped support local organizations such as the Hub on Smith, Advocacy and Resource Center, Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Sheridan Association, SAGE, and many others. These organizations provide necessary services to our community. Collectively, the amenities of GPET funds make Sheridan the great community we are. I want to provide for an environment that would continue moving our community forward for next generations, including my 2 grandsons. I'm Terry Weitzel, and again, I'm running for re-election to the Sheridan City Council.
Thank you. First question this evening. What are your thoughts about the impact on local control of bills passed by the Wyoming legislature in recent years? Terry Weitzel.
I don't like it at all. In fact, what they're doing is they're putting control, not locally, they're putting control in Cheyenne. I could go on a little bit more about it, but I just don't like it. And I think it's irresponsible, and it seems to me like you've got some individuals in the state legislature that want to control everything from Cheyenne. Everything should be controlled here locally. Our city shouldn't be told what to do and how to spend our money, and same thing with the county.
Thank you. Amber Horsley.
I also agree that the city should have the power to make local decisions in areas. And if you look at Cheyenne right now, what's happening down there with the AI data centers, I would vote no against the AI data centers to preserve Sheridan's water and our natural resources here. And the resources of Sheridan make this place a very special place to live, and it's important to preserve this community and to have a say in what happens.
Thank you. Greg Gluman.
I got to keep remembering this thing. Local control. I look at this as big government, to be honest with you. Is anytime the state is dictating something that we're doing down at this level and how we go about doing things, I'm not for. Let us make those decisions and let us control our area. I see it a lot, and the property tax, they've made changes, everything. That's great. Let's see where it goes from here. Let's not make more changes. Let's see how it plays out in the long run.
Thank you. Andrew Patzik.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
Sure. What are your thoughts about the impact on local control of bills passed by the Wyoming legislature in recent years?
Okay, well, in the absence of any specific bills, this question really seems like it's much more suited for state legislators than it is for us. Obviously, local control should remain here with us. I mean, we have decisions we make frequently, when there's a new building code that comes out, we're told, well, we need to accept the building code in order to maintain local control, or they call it home rule. And I agree with that, but we also don't have to accept all of it. And there are certain impacts from that building code that can really increase the cost of houses here. So I guess I'm not exactly sure what part of local control is being challenged at the state level, but it seems to me like better questions could be asked of the city council for this debate.
Thank you. Harry Pollock?
Well, I'm gonna agree with my current councilman, Councilman Patsick. With that being said, the reality is we need to stay in our lane. And as long as we're listening to our constituents and we're doing what the role of city government actually is, then quite honestly, there should be nothing else to deal with. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, what do you believe are the critical roles and responsibilities of a city councilor? Which of these do you believe presents the biggest challenge? We'll begin with Harry Pollock. The first respondent will be Harry Pollock for this question.
Sure. Give me 1 second here. City role is real basic. We're not the big winners and losers. City role is to create a fair and predictable business-friendly environment. That means safe streets, good infrastructure, reasonable permitting, clear zoning, and low barriers to entry. Over the next 3 to 5 years, the focus should be to help local businesses grow and keep Sheridan affordable. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Weitzel.
The city council's role is to set policy, approve the budget, pass ordinances, and be a good constituent services person. Answer your calls, from constituents on a timely manner, and that. But that's basically what we do.
Thank you. Amber Horsley.
I think that the job of a city councilor is to steward well the resources that are given to us, as well as have fiscal responsibility. We need to listen to the residents here so that we can meet their needs and help them. I think it is a position where people, the councilors, represent the people, and we can help a lot by just focusing on spending less, putting others' needs above our own needs, and really blessing the city of Sheridan.
Thank you. Greg Lumen.
Yeah, I think the main responsibility of us is to educate ourselves on the issues that do arise and the decisions that we do make. Making educated decisions is a big part of that. But also part of the setting the budget is being fiscally responsible, but while also making sure that the city of Sheridan remains the livable place that it is right now.
Thank you. Andrew Patsick.
Yeah, thank you. The role of council member is to be a good steward of the resources that were given from the people. That does, like was stated, involve setting policy. And our decisions hold a lot of weight within the city because they affect where funds are going. We have a lot of impact on the decisions that are made, and even within, outside of the council. But one of the most difficult things is being ideologically consistent. You heard about educating yourself. It's difficult to see the issues sometimes for what they are, and the most important thing is to stay true to your convictions and the promises that you gave people when you ran for office. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, what do you think are the most critical elements of the city's transportation plan? Andrew Patsick.
The most critical elements of the city's transportation plan. Well, I think that it has to, the most important part is being forward thinking. As we see more and more traffic coming into Sheridan, we're seeing intersections that are being challenged. I think that one of the things that is going to be one of the biggest transportation challenges that we have coming up is what is being referred to as the Great Wall of Caffeine. It's intended to slow, that was from Dennis Fox, that's not mine, I can't claim credit for that. It's intended to have a calming effect on traffic through creating congestion. And I just don't think that that's the direction we want to go, and we need to think better on our transportation. Thank you.
Thank you. Harry Pollock.
Thank you. Traffic must be addressed through planning and before growth overwhelms the infrastructure. That means reviewing road capacity, school routes, emergency access, parking, intersections, and future development impacts before projects are approved. Growth should pay attention to infrastructure, not ignore it. We need practical fixes, better coordination, and honest timelines for road improvements. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Weitzel.
Cody, could you please repeat the question?
Sure. What do you think are the most critical elements of the city's transportation plan?
Okay, the most critical elements of the city's transportation plan is looking to the future and making sure that we up-to-date that transportation plan, which we have done recently. Looking to where our city is going to be expanding, what kind of traffic is going to be there. I know that the West Corridor project is not a popular one with some people, but looking long-term to the future and all that, we have to look at things like that. Otherwise, we're going to grow so quickly, and then we're going to have traffic problems in the city.
Thank you. Amber Horsley.
I do agree with the issue of growth. We need to be looking at our roads and bridges and making sure we're keeping up and getting ahead of the problem before it takes off. And that includes adding crosswalks where they're needed and maybe even slowing down speeds, specifically in front of Martin Luther Grammar School where there's a playground. A car went through the chain link fence onto the playground, and there's not a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit zone in front of this private school. So that is an issue I would address quickly being on city council, are speed limits in front of school zones, even private schools that may not be looked at.
Thank you. Greg Lumen.
So my first thing would be true safety. That is the number one. If it's a true safety hazard, looking at Main Street and Fifth Street right now, that is a true safety hazard. Also looking at traffic flow. We got to look at traffic flow. And I'm also one that you need to look into the future. What you plan now is going to affect, and how you plan now will affect us in the future and how we go about doing things. The West Corridor is one. It was not planned well. Should have been done many, many, many years ago, but it never was. So that would be a decision that we should have kind of worked on a little bit more back then.
Thank you. Our final question this evening: if the city's budget were to decrease significantly, what city services would you prioritize protecting and which would you eliminate? Greg Lumen.
All right. So if our budget were to be eliminated or dropped, I would have to say something education-wise is the only essential services that are required by state statute are that we have a clerk and that we have an engineer. So the obvious, that are the things that are going to be affected, or anything that are not in that area. So I would obviously say the emergency services would be the last, but if we have, get forced, push comes to shove, it's going to be the roads or your safety. The roads are going to be the one that probably suffers. So that's where I would go with that one.
Thank you. Andrew Patzik.
Okay, can you hit me with that question one more time?
Absolutely. If the city's budget were to decrease significantly, what city services would you prioritize protecting and which would you eliminate?
Yeah, this is one we've talked about an awful lot. The fact of the matter is when we talk about essential services, we all basically have the vision in our head what we're talking about. Obviously, public safety, the police, the fire, and then we're going to be moving straight into roads and infrastructure. What we're not going to prioritize is giving away the tax dollars to local charities, because that shouldn't even be done in the first place. I voted against it for a couple years now, and partially against it the year before that. I was the only one voting against it on the council, and I would also decide that we would cut funding to lobbyist groups that primarily push for higher tax revenue for the government. I just don't think that we need to be prioritizing those things if we're dealing with a decreased budget.
Thank you. Harry Pollock.
Thank you for the question, and I'm going to be real quick on this one. The reality is that even if there's a significant decrease in our current budget at, I think it stands right now at $55 million, the reality is no essential services are going to be done without. What we have a problem with is actually spending for things that we don't need, that are not essential. We cut that out, we lower our taxes, everything's good, and you folks are happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Weitzel.
Well, significant cuts to our revenues. Of course, the ones that we would have to protect our essential services, public safety. But just as Councilman Lumen said, what's going to suffer are our roads or streets, repairing them. Snow removal probably will take a big hit. On main thoroughfares, we push all the snow to the center, and then we have an auger that goes around and picks up with trucks that come by and all that. We may not have to do that. We might have to push the snow off to the side, to the right, and not do it that way, because hiring those trucks to remove the snow is very costly.
Thank you. Amber Horsley.
Well, I don't think that we should allow our roads to suffer while we're giving money to Sage Art Gallery and music programs, sending people out of state or even out of the city to do music. I think we need to, if the budget is low, we need to spend the money on essential services, police, firefighters, roads, bridges, sewer, water. We need to make sure we take care of what needs to be taken care of first before we even consider giving to nonprofits.
Thank you. We'll finish out the evening with 2-minute closing statements, beginning with Amber Horsley.
Okay, well, thank you guys for coming tonight. It's great to see so many people here that care about the city and the community. I want to keep it a place where families can thrive, where neighbors know each other, and where our Wyoming values stay strong. I believe our city council should listen first, be responsible with taxpayer dollars. We need to protect our quality of life while planning wisely for growth. If I'm elected, I'll work hard, ask good questions, listen to your concerns, and always remember I represent you, not special interests. I would be honored to earn your vote. Thank you, and God bless you, your families, and the city of Sheridan.
Thank you. Greg Lumen.
First, I'm going to reiterate, thank you to the Chamber of Commerce, but also Mr. St. Clair, my neighbor. Thank you for doing so well. And then also thank you to the hardcore people that are staying here. You noticed all of the county people were like, I'm out. But also I see... okay, there's a few of you. And then also what I wanted to say is the children and kids are here. That is awesome that you're here. Learning, Ultimately, I would like to continue the work that we've started as a city council. And I am, like I said before, experiencing the experiences that I've gotten from city council is developing new friendships, because I didn't know Andrew and I didn't know Terry very well. Well, I didn't even know him before this. And I love the work that we've done, and I love the relationship that we have, that we can discuss things and maybe sometimes argue, but after it's done, we're friends. And so gotten to know the inner workings of the city that I thought I knew when I was an employee there, but I've seen a lot more since I've gotten on city council. I love that I've gotten to do this job because it's been such a big part of my life. And one thing I'd like to say too is those nonprofits, instead of cutting their money, how about we encourage people to continue to be a role model and support those organizations to the point where you no longer need the money, not just kill the money beforehand. Thank you for the last 3.5 years, and I hope I get to serve you again for 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Patzik?
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed too is the friendships, and that has been really great. But one of the things that's most important now is drawing contrast. In my opening remarks, I talked about my voting record because it tells you a lot more than campaign promises ever could. Anybody can tell you what they believe, but your voting record tells what you actually do. A city council is supposed to provide oversight, ask hard questions, and challenge ideas when necessary, and make sure the government is accountable to the people. Both of my fellow incumbents on the stage tonight have a 98% yes voting record, and when nearly every proposal receives nearly every vote, the oversight becomes weaker. The council is actually doing less to test whether it's truly necessary, affordable, and in the best interest of the citizens. Over the last 4 years, my voting record has been 86% yes, which that 12% difference has reflected a different approach. I've supported measures that I believed that served Sheridan well, and I voted no when I believed that spending was going beyond the proper role. We were picking winners and losers and expanding this reach, the reach beyond what is necessary. Those votes weren't about being difficult. They were about fulfilling the promises I made when I ran the first time. Fiscal responsibility, protecting individual liberty, thoughtful growth, and protecting the values that make Sheridan such a special place to live. Elections aren't just about choosing people, they're about choosing the kind of council that you want moving forward. If you want careful scrutiny, asking the hard questions before spending your tax dollars, and a strong conservative voice, then I would be honored to continue earning your vote. Thank you for your time, thank you for your trust, and may God continue to bless Sheridan.
Thank you. Harry Pollock?
Thank you. And again, thank you to all of you out in the audience for sticking around on a Monday night. At the end of the day, this election is about one simple question. Are we putting Sheridan first? Putting Sheridan first means fully funding essential services before other spending. It means respecting taxpayers before asking for more money. It means guarding private property rights before adding more regulation. It means encouraging and easing government regulation for small businesses. Sheridan will grow, but we must grow responsibly. We can address housing without destroying neighborhood character. We can improve traffic and infrastructure by planning ahead. We can support those truly in need while still respecting the limits placed on governments by the Wyoming Constitution. My priorities are simple. Fund core city services first. Protect taxpayers. Defend private property rights. Reduce unnecessary red tape. Support local businesses. Demand transparency. And preserve the values that make Sheridan strong. Sheridan deserves leadership rooted in faith, family, fiscal responsibility, accountability, transparency, and common sense. If elected, I will work every day to put Sheridan first. Not special interest, not politics, not unnecessary spending, but the people and the future of this community. I'd be honored to earn your vote on August 18th and November 3rd, and I always will put Sheridan first. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Weitzel.
I'm Terry Weitzel, and I'm running for re-election to the Sheridan City Council. Again, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this forum, and I want to thank everyone in the audience for sticking around here to listen to us. I have brought conscientious, responsible leadership to the city of Sheridan. I want to continue moving our beautiful community forward. Moving our community forward takes leaders that have a vision for Sheridan's future. Leaders that make tough decisions with our annual city budget to make sure that our community is safe and secure, provides for adequate resources for the city's infrastructure, parks, and pathways, but ensures that there is enough to provide for the amenities that make Sheridan a great place to live. This summer, I have been to Kendrick Pool with my 2 grandsons. I witnessed smiling and laughing of our community's children. All were having a great time. It took vision by our leaders to see that the renovation of Kendrick Pool became reality. GPET, or the optional 1-cent tax, will be on the ballot for renewal in November. GPET funds are vital to the city of Sheridan. GPET funds support facilities and infrastructure projects, public safety, parks, pathways, and recreation, among other things. I will be voting for its renewal. I'm Terry Weitzel, and I'm running for re-election to the Sheridan City Council. I humbly ask for your vote on August 18th.
Thank you. Please join me in thanking the candidates for Sheridan Councilor. So as we end the evening, on behalf of the Chamber and its Government Affairs Committee, I want to thank all the candidates, all the volunteers. A special thank you to our Chamber staff, the WYO Theater staff, as well as all of you for attending. Please vote on or before August 18th. Thank you.